Hi guys, welcome back to another Apex Racing Academy setup tutorial. Alex Simpson here in the Formula Renault. I'm at Road Atlanta, and yeah, we're going to be taking a look at aero balance in this particular video. If you haven't seen the other two videos, please go check them out. The first one was all about how to set your tyre pressures, the second one all about tyre cambers. I have basically got if I just double check to make sure that switched over okay, which it did. Yeah, I have basically got the setup that I was using at Mosport, which had the tweaked cambers on it, just as a reference. It was the baseline. You saw what I did with that. It was very small subtle changes, but enough, and it actually gained me probably about 3-4 tenths of a second, something like that, in lap time. So you know the importance of getting cambers right. Now this was the setup that I ended up with, so very similar to the high well, it was started from the high downforce baseline, and yeah, so slightly less camber on the front than the base, and slightly less on the rear as well. No other changes were made. The pressures were sort of okay for Mosport, but we will keep a little eye on these ones as well, just while through the run, because it might be that over the sort of 4 or 5 lap runs that we're doing, this front left, which will take most of the pounding around here, will raise up above the front right, so we might just need to drop that down a click or bring the others up 1 click. But we'll take a look at that. So this is all about aero balance today against the high downforce. It's quite a good circuit for it actually, because it has a combination of a lot of high speed corners as well as some slow speed, and a couple of like sort of medium straights and one really long straight as well. So we'll definitely hopefully be able to mix up the aero packages and show you a bit of everything. So how we can get the aero balance right, so front to back, turning into a corner, out of a corner, and then of course to figure out what the optimal sort of overall downforce level is against drag. So do we want lots of speed through the corners, or do we want more straight line speed? So it should be a good track to do that. So obviously first up, if you watched any of the other videos, you'll have to just bear with me, because we just need to set some times. We need to get a reference, we need to get a base, see what's going on. Yeah, so I've got my GoPro set up this time. I'm doing it a little bit different. So when I'm out of the car, when I'm in the car, you see that view instead. Hopefully that works. But yeah, when I come to do the setup tweaks, don't worry, I'll move it back so that you can see the desktop. This way I'm just able to run in triples a little bit easier. Yeah, should be ideal. If anyone could tell me how, when I'm running in windowed mode and without the border, how I can get rid of this damn taskbar at the bottom, that'd be greatly appreciated as well. Because earlier on, just when I was getting everything ready, it wasn't there, but now it's here and it's peeing me off. So, but right, let's do some laps, and hope that doesn't get in our way. You watch, we'll get a Dropbox pop up or something like that. I'm sure of it. Just a bit of volume. Yeah, hopefully you can hear me okay. Road Atlanta, I do like this circuit. I used to hate it. I think I remember I ran this when we were going for pro in the Williams, and oh my god, it was horrible in that car. But it's not actually a bad circuit when you get to enjoy it. remember I had to do a lot of laps around here for the World Cup one year, and yeah, I kind of grew to enjoy it. The race itself didn't go well, if you remember that one. I think I was doing some pretty extreme barrel rolls on the first lap, courtesy of one of my teammates at the time. It's quite a hot weather session. It's not default. Like I say, I'm not worried about like making these absolutely the best times. We're using a default set, so this is just really just to show you guys, you know, the processes and how you can work your set yourself. And of course, you know, don't just go and put what I end up with here on, because every driver is different. This is the thing. So this is really what I try and sort of teach in the academy, is that we'll give you all the tools and the resources there, but you know, you need to fine tune the sets yourself to fit your own driving style. Just because somebody likes the car to turn a particular amount, wants the aero balance one way, well, you might like it just a slight different, you know, so you have to do the testing. Well, if you want to be uber competitive, or you know, to get the most out of the car as possible, you definitely want to be doing tweaks yourself. You want to catch these gears. I thought it was going to be too much of a curve then. The car's actually remarkably good over the curbs, considering it's just the basic one. Dampers and everything else like that, but it's one thing I will say about the baseline sets. So they've done a pretty good job with them, with this car. So we'll run it till the fuel's pretty low. Of course, nothing really interesting in this part, just me going to be blabbering on every now and again, so if you want to skip it to when I'm next in the garage, by all means do.
You got about 5 laps of fuel.
Blind corner, gotta get used to that one. Everything as the car burns its fuel out, gets a bit faster in a straight line, engine temperatures gets to optimal. Caught that curb, just scrub some speed off. Yeah, sorry guys, I know this is not that great, just watching me circulate around. But you want to do you know, some good back-to-back testing. You know, you need to do the same amount of laps and everything. There's no point in me just stopping after a couple of laps. Go, alright, let's do some again. We need to make sure we're not going to go quicker. If you hadn't guessed, I can't talk and drive. You know, it's how my sectors are really rubbish when I try and talk. Such a bitch corner, so blind, you know, just more experience gets you over that each time. So if you really start to hate that, you haven't drove Road Atlanta before and you don't know what that corner's all about and you're thinking about not doing, just give it some time. Once you get some laps under your belt here, you'll start to learn where that is. So because it really is completely and utterly blind. I can't see anything. I'd love to be in a roll bar cam for that corner because it is so bad. Oh, too late on the brakes.
You have about 2 laps of fuel left.
Okay, 2 laps of fuel. Ah, good exit. I hate that curb. Lost some momentum there. Oh, and that was rubbish as well. Right, last lap of this run then. Such a great exit this time. Now the final sector, we might just about get a 3. Fairly reasonable. Just a little bit wide there, but feels like an okay lap. Not the greatest of final sectors, but still fairly good. Ah, there we go, so it was a 3. Okay, hopefully that's moved that back, and it has, good. Right, so car didn't feel too bad, I have to say. It's pretty obvious we had a lot of downforce there. It was good through that S's section, no issues whatsoever there. yeah, so let's just take a quick look at what we got. And like I said, we've got the left hand side just a bit higher than the right. Probably not enough. Yeah, it's 4, isn't it? So at this point, I'd probably put that up for if I was doing a race run, if I was working on pressures right now, I'd probably put that up, because I would dare say once the run goes on, and maybe even the right rear as well, when the run goes on, those pressures are probably going to get even further out, and by just going up one click on each side, we'll get them closer together, left to right. You get a better balance. Go and watch the first video, I won't go into it, but yeah, you get better balance when the pressures are even. Right, so okay, so 31 and 18 is maximum downforce right now. All I'm going to do at this point is obviously take a bit of downforce, I want the car to turn a bit more. So I'm not going to take anything off the front wing at this point. I'm just going to take it off of the rear, because I just want to get that car to swing through the corners a little bit more, see if I can be a bit more aggressive. What I don't want to have happen is that the back end's sort of flopping and sliding all around the place where I'm trying to catch the car on all the time. So you just want to fine tune it so that it's still totally drivable for you. That's what you really want. If it's already too oversteery, well then you got to go down the front wing. Yeah, if the balance is too much, go down the front wing. But for me, I feel like it can go a bit more. This high downforce setup feels pretty good. I'll talk about this section in a moment. This downforce calculator here, and how it all works. Because I think when we come to take down overall downforce off but keep the balance the same, this is where the calculator comes into play. When we're just trying to find the ideal front to back balance, it doesn't matter too much, because we know whether or not we want to make the car turn more or turn less. In this particular case, I want it to turn a little bit more. Can't go up on the front wing, so I'm going to go down on the rear wing. This will have its advantage at Road Atlanta, because in that back straight it will go just a fraction faster as well. So I'm going to go down 2 clicks, 3116. Just give it a little whirl. When you're fine tuning, obviously you'll be trying just like 1 click really, but that's sort of towards the end, and you'll also be just in ride heights as well, but we'll go into that in a second. So right, yeah, I'm just going to take it back out again, just have a little blast, see what I can do. So really subtle changes. I don't want to be going like 5 clicks, because I make a huge change to the balance of the car, and I probably won't really learn too much. So yes, this is a bit longer doing it this way, but it's worthwhile. Just in the end, you'll spend less time, because you won't be sort of going back and forth all over the shop. So right, here goes. So we've got 19.3 that we want to beat. And we want to see if we can beat the optimals in a couple of places as well. That way we know that we're definitely on for an improvement. The laps at the end felt good, so I think on the optimals there weren't a huge amount of time, maybe a tenth or so. Just straight off the bat sort of pace, but that's the thing as well, is I could probably drive that set for another half an hour and find maybe a half a second. So you do want to make sure before you do any tweaks to the car that you've sufficiently exhausted all the possible time that's in a setup. Obviously I'm not going to torture you through that, because that would take me all night. You won't see the clock, unfortunately, because it's only grabbing the window, but it is 2 minutes to midnight, so yeah. I'll get some sleep. Right, here we go. That's a good start. Oh, clobbered the curb, that was never good. Turned off that corner a lot easier. You can see the time I gained coming out of there. Got my last downshift there for some strange reason. Slippier there, that might just be the pressures coming in as well. So a very good first lap. Feels like I can throw it in there a bit more, might have to be a bit more aggressive there. Oh yeah, that's marked improvement there. Still heavy on the fuel, which is why we're still not quite matching the pace as what we were at the end of the other run, so it's really going to be hard to tell until I see what it does at the end of the this fuel run. But already improving optimals in places. Definitely through that chicane it's a bit trickier, I think. But we could sort that out elsewhere if we're getting time everywhere else. Like I say, it might just need to be like 17 or something might be the optimal. Just keeps getting faster through there, so. Oh, I missed shift. Oh, it's gone quicker already. missed the shift a little bit on the way down there, and just didn't quite get into the corner as well. It's a shame. Still, it's going to be quicker. They're going 18.9. Oh, bit too much curve. We got away with that. Definitely a little bit more lively, but not extreme, I have to say. Rubbish exit. Just a bit too deep going in there. Again, if you don't want to watch me do the laps, you just want to see what I change at the end and where I end up, then by all means, fast forward. That's better. But again, we might even get down to the 8.
About 2 laps of fuel.
Yeah, not a great sector. Consistently quicker though, which is the important thing. Steady going in. I was a bit nervous of hitting the inside curb, didn't quite get on the power as quickly as I wanted. Fortunately the car is light, so at this point shouldn't lose too much down the straight. I was hoping might gain some of it back. A little bit. Oh, that's good. Oh well, it's going to be what we're going to have to beat. There we go. So an 18.768. Not a bad lap. One little mistake really in there. But massively quicker. Just able to really get it into the corners a lot better. Yeah, let me just make sure. I really hope it has recorded all of that and it has switched and you weren't just looking at a black screen there, as that would have been a nightmare. But yeah, well, we're back on here so you could can see it now anyway. Right, okay, so what I would do now is obviously you need to go and do that same test a little bit more. So we'd go down to say 14 for example, and see if we're quicker. If we're quicker again, we go down more. We just basically just keep working that balance until we get the best possible front to back balance that gives us the most speed as far as lap time goes. Fair bit of time to do that. Now, obviously, I haven't got time to show you that. We could be here all night doing that. But what I will say now is, once you find that the optimal balance where you've gone as quick as you possibly can, you can't get any quicker with changing, going up or going down one click, whatever. Makes you no faster whatsoever. I don't want you to change the front wing at this point, unless it was unless you had oversteer and you wanted a bit more understeer and that's how you found the balance. Just want you to work with one wing first. For me, like I say, I wanted the car to turn more. I got that more turn. And for right now, let's just sort of say, right, that was my optimal wing. Yeah, it's not necessarily there, so don't go thinking Roland is going to be 16 rear wing with a 31 front. This is just to give you an example of the balance. Now what I want to do is I want to say, well, hold on a minute, what if I've just got too much drag on the car? What if I'm going to gain more time by going faster down the straights and in between the corners than I am by carrying this extra speed? Because obviously when you've got max downforce on there, the car will be pushed down to the ground much. You can carry more speed through the corners. So you gain time through the corners. Now when you take that off, you will lose a little bit of time going through the corners because you won't be able to carry quite the same speed because you're like a bullet down the straight. So you gain the time there. So you've got to find the ideal downforce level. That's where the Aero calculator comes into play. So I'm just going to take downforce off, but we want to make sure that our balance stays the same. Now, what we have here is we have our front downforce percentage. So on our front wing, basically when we're going into a corner, it's 41.3% towards the front. Now this gets affected by this ride height at speed. So not every corner won't be this percentage. Each one will be different. It depends how hard you brake, so how far the front end dips down going into the corner, or whether it's flat out corner, so then the back end will be squatting down a little bit, front end will be popped up a little bit more. So it can vary, but it gives us enough to know what we need to figure out here. Once you want to start going into real fine details with ride heights and speed, that's when you're going to be busting out the Motec or the Atlas and looking at what the front end, how high the front end is going into these corners, how high the rear end is, and vice versa, so you can figure out your actual percentage downforce. Super useful for oval IndyCar racing, I have to say. We use this tool crazy amounts. But right, for what we really want to do, what's useful for us right now is we know that the 3116 gives us a 41.3 front downforce percentage. So if we're going to take downforce off, we want to keep that percentage because we found that that's the best front to back balance. So by going down on the one click on the front, you can see that's gone from 41.3 down to 40.44. So you get considerable amount of understeer. Now was that? Yeah, it's almost the same as what it was on the 18 on the rear wing. So let's go down, say what, 1, 2, 3, 4 clicks. So down to 27. Crap, I forgot what it was. 41.3. So let's go, we want basically to go down on that wing until we get close to 41.3. There we go. So 2710 should give us the same front to back balance as what we had before, which would be a good place to test. Now that might be just a little bit too little downforce level all around, but it's worth a try. The figures there, the figures match up, and the car should rotate into the corner just the same as it was previously, and rotate out the corners just the same as well, but it won't have as much overall downforce. You can see the downforce to drag ratio's gone from 2 point something down to 1.9, so it won't be able to carry quite the same speed through the corners. It's going to be close, but not quite the same, so that might actually we might lose too much time through the twisty bits compared to what we're going to gain down the straightaway sections, but we'll give that a whirl, and we will see. I'll just make sure that you are going to see me. Yeah, you are. Oh, and you saw my mug as well, so not great. Right, here we go then. So 2710. Let's see if that gains us anything. Might be a bit too much. I do remember sort of running a fair amount of downforce here, just for this sort of sector here, and the S's. Although that straight does make a big difference. I remember being in an IndyCar race once around here, totally different sort of setups on there, nothing between us. Great race it was. I think I had slightly lower downforce, so I'd lose a little bit of time here, gain it back down the straight, exchange positions about 5 or 6 times. It was awesome. I hate to say it, I think I lost the car coming out of the final corner after just getting the lead on the last lap. It's like, no! But yeah, Naruku in the IndyCar, won a piece I think it was that week, so it was a lot of fun. So if you want to try a fun car to drive after they're a bit more performance than maybe the Renault, you built up and you want to find something else, I tell you what, that IndyCar is a good one to drive. A lot of fun. Think about doing an academy in that as well, so should be good. You already see the difference in the speed because of going. Oh well, there's the understeer. There we go. We're off. Can't quite take the same speed in there.
They say you cut the course. You'll have to slow down and give up the time gain.
That's not an instant no from me that that's going to be worse, but it does raise a flag a little bit, red flag. So there's so much downforce on before, and we're really pushing it into there. So. I say, and we might have just have gone too far with it as well, so we'll see what we do with this one. If we don't find anything, we'll try one sort of halfway in between what we had, and I can show you about using the ride heights to adjust the aero balance as well. It should just about cover everything then. Same loose feeling, which I'm pretty sure is the tyres, so having not spent any time with the pressures of this circuit, I could probably do with being up one click at the minute. Like I say, it gets better after a few laps, so it might not be a bad race tyre. Perhaps overcompensated that time. Definitely struggling to get it into the corners, and that's purely because, like I say, I've not quite got that downforce level that I had. You can see it's going to be quicker in the straight when the fuel comes out of this and the tyres are all up and the engine's up to temperature as well. It's going to be very fast in the straight, so it's going to be interesting in those final few laps. Greatest of first laps though. too much curve.
You have about 5 laps of fuel left.
A couple of times it just doesn't want to engage the downshift, which is always a bit frustrating, I find, with this car. I was talking to obviously Lando, who drives these in real life, and he says there's no such woes in the real one. He just slams it down there. And there we go, look at the time that we're gaining down this straight. Ah, with the downshift. With the upshift again. 18.8, that's much better. So that area definitely where it's slower. Number 18. Oh. Not getting the line right there either at the minute, just missing the apex, which is not helping. A bit slower through the chicane, we haven't quite managed to match it. It comes back at it down the hill, of course, so it's pretty close. Oh, that was good.
You got about 2 laps of fuel.
Rubbish. I think it's going to be quicker. is indeed 0.5. Oh, missed the gear again. Another rubbish exit. Ah! Come on, little car, go! Nail this sector if we're going to get an improvement. Oh, we're pushing it. Might. No, I don't think we're going to beat it. Oh, we're definitely not now. Oh well. Well, it's gone quicker twice there, so I think the proof is in the pudding, as they say. It's a bit trickier over that hill. It took a little while to figure out cause slightly different turning to it. But yeah, yeah, that felt good. Felt better. It was quicker. Is it going to be the best one? It was a little bit low. It felt a little bit low. I mean, the advantage we got, we were a lot faster down the straight. We're over 1/10 of a second faster down the straight, and that's going to make a big difference in the race, especially in the packs. So if you can sort of deal with the car being slightly slower through the corners and gain that time down the straight, it's going to make you that much harder to overtake, and you'll be able to overtake much easier. But yeah, that gives you an idea of how you go about tweaking the aero balance using the wings and the front downforce percentage here. Now, if for example you thought, well, that was just not enough, Alex, I just haven't got enough downforce. Well, we could have gone, say, to 29, and we want 41.3 again. So right. Okay, so what we've got now, the closest we can get to this is 41.8, not ideal, you know, we're like, oh, well, what's going on? This is where we can come to the ride height at speed indicator, and we want, yeah, okay, so it's basically saying if we can raise the ride height up a couple of millimeters, well, we could get closer, we could get pretty close to that 0.3, so if we said sort of 2.5 mil, that's going to get us our 41.3 percentage back. So what we could do is we'll go 29 and 12, and we want 2.5 mil, so we're going to go to 18.5 on the front ride height. That's quite a chunk. 18.4. There we go. I'll give this one last go, because so what we've basically done, we've raised the front end of the car up, so we've taken away some front downforce level off of it that way, and that's what's going to give us our percentage back to what we had. So we should have more downforce than what I just had, but the same sort of, you know, turn in percentage kind of thing as well. So, and that might just be that we'll be quicker, we'll still quicker than what we were on the first set, but we might be able to carry a little bit more speed through the corners. So let's see if that's going to be any quicker. Before I damn it, I realised what I've just done. Sorry guys, let me change that back. Probably all shouting at me now going, oh Alex, I can't see. Right, where were we? Let's change it back down to where it was, 16.1, and we were, I think 10, wasn't it? 2610, 2710. Yeah, there we go. Right, so that was the downforce we came in with. I suppose I could just go cancel. God, that should tell me then, shouldn't it? Alright. Yeah. So that's what we just done that time with. Right, my apologies. So it's definitely quicker overall. We kept that percentage the same. Of course, you know, you can try it a bit further. So You can go down a bit more, you can go up. You might say, well, as I said a minute ago, if it's just a little bit it felt too low, like you just didn't have enough confidence through the corners and you want a little bit more, well, we could split the difference a little bit and go, well, let's go 29 on the front wing, and we want to try and get back to that 41.5, which we can't quite get, although 49.13 pretty reasonable as well. But let's just say, well, we still want the wing low. We don't want it too high. So we want the straight line speed more than anything is what we're trying to get here. With the extra wing is just going to slow us down. So we've got a 41.87 balance here now. So what we can use is this ride height of speed here to try and figure out where exactly we need to be on the front ride height to get that percentage back to 41.3. And what basically we've got here is 17 is not enough, 18 is too much. So what I've got at the moment is I need to raise, because this was 15 to start off with, so it's basically saying 2.5 mil extra ride height should get us back to our percentage figure that we had here. Now ignore what this number is. We just will want the X amount of millimeters should reduce our percentage to what we want. So it was somewhere between 2 and 3 mils. So we're going to go from 16.1 to 18.4, I think, as it goes to 6. The next one, there we go. That's basically what you didn't see just a moment ago. So I'm going to do one final run on that. It's worth pointing out in regards to aero balance as well. Of course, you've got rear ride heights just the same as we've done there. We could have lowered the rear ride height too instead of the front one. So if let me just for example say so we want 41.3. If I'd have gone down 3 millimeters on the rear, that would have given us the same percentage. So what's going to be best? It's quite a bumpy track, maybe given that extra height is going to be better, but those are the two settings that you've got to try and change when we're trying to get that balance back using the ride heights, and you feel like the 41.3 is ideal for you. Those are the two things to go and try. So if, for example, this doesn't work, the 18.4, the car just handled funny or whatnot like that, then you can just head on to the rear. Some people will start with the front, some people start with the rear. Obviously, lowering the rear is not a bad thing. The only thing you have to be careful, obviously, is the car bottoming out. We've already seen it's easy to sort of hit that high curb going through there, and there's a couple of other high curbs here as well, so I would think you want to try and avoid lowering the car as much as you can. So it just depends what sort of track. If you want like somewhere like Twin Ring Motegi, where that's like an absolute mill pond and you haven't got to worry about any bumps whatsoever, well then you'd lower the rear end down as well. There's no harm in doing that, so you can start with the rear, but you definitely want to try both to see which one feels the closest to your balance, and there's not really a rule of thumb to say that the front end has to be on the deck as much as possible. I do think obviously if the car's a bit lower, you do gain a little bit more overall downforce. We can test that using the Aero calculator. That would be your best one to tell whether or not which one to go for. Okay, so right now with a 2912 and the ride heights as they are, we get a downforce to drag percentage of 2.007. When I go to say 17, it's 1.991, and that gives us a 41.43. Now if I was to lower the rear, we get 1952, but it's a 41.37. So what was it again? It was 1991. Well, there you go. You get a lot more downforce to drag when you increase the front wing up. So my honest suggestion is you won't lose quite as much downforce by going up on the front wing, overall downforce, but you'll gain a bit more straight line speed. The car is got far less drag, so to do that. So yeah, so basically the larger the number, the better. That's what we're really after on that front. Right, there's I hope that makes sense. And none of this makes sense, because obviously we've not done this as a Q&A one, just post on the forum and I'll try and explain it the best I can, or in the comments on the video, and I'll take a look at them. So there's a couple other things that obviously we need to talk about when we're talking aero balance as well. The front of the car just has the one spring, 140 and a 150. Now when you change the spring at the front, that will also affects the ride heights, as you can see. So changing that, you'll have to tweak, but also that'll affect it going down the straights. It will also affect it going into the corners with the aero balance as well. So stiffer will mean that the front end's just sitting a little bit higher going into the corners as well. So be mindful of that. If you go up on the spring, because once we get to start to work with the car and the shocks and things like that, and you find that to be a little bit better, don't forget to obviously reduce your ride heights down here, but you might need to go down an extra click or two, just so that with the compression of the springs you get back down to the aero percentage you want. So don't forget to do that, because yeah, easily forgotten. And the same with the rear. If the rear is higher, it's already maxed out, but if you go lower, then the car is going to sit down a lot more, going down the straights and coming into some of the high speed corners. You'll have less downforce percentage to the front, so you've got to compensate for that by putting the rear wing, so the rear of the car up in the air a little bit more, so a bit more rake, so that the car turns just the same as well. And then obviously vice versa as well. If you've gone up on the springs, it'll poke it up more in the air. So if you don't want the extra aero rotation, you just want mechanical rotation, or you just want it to be a bit stiffer because of bumps, then you'll have to drop the rear of the car down a little bit. Right, one last run then, guys. We'll see if this is any better, and then we will I will call it a night, I think. It's gone on for a little bit, this video. But yeah, aero's a tricky one. Pretty much everything affects aero, so got to cover it. And hopefully everybody now knows what that aero calculator does properly. Gone into enough detail with it. Just want to make sure that you are seeing me. Yes, you are. Right, so what I should expect from this one then now is, I don't think I'm going to lose a great deal of straight line speed compared to that other one, because the percentage that I've lost, I've lost a lot of drag because the front end's come up a bit, and the rear wing compared to the front wing is still quite considerably low, so should be good, but it should still be okay through the corners. And of course we might actually gain something by having the front end up a little bit higher. We might be a bit better over some of these curbs too. Who knows? We'll find out. Oh, that was rubbish. Based on what happened last run, we know we don't really need to be looking at these early laps, because once the fuel comes out and the tyre pressures build, we're going to gain a bit more speed. That was a rubbish line. Talking again, I can't do it. Can't talk and drive. Shit. little bit slower at that point, but like I said, once the fuel comes out, it's not going to be an awful lot of difference. Right, bad laps though. Just focus, I like to bust out the excuses, it's getting late, getting tired. Stay. It is better over that chicane, just a little bit higher. Hides the bumps just a bit better. See what it can do once this fuel goes. Too much curb. Oh, off track as well.
You've got about 5 laps of fuel.
Oh, it's so much better over there. Really attack that inside curb now. So if we just sort the rest of the lap out and stop driving like an idiot, we might be alright. Oh, come on. So really that last sector is just a byproduct of raising the front end. Aero balance wise, I'm not really feeling an awful lot of difference. If anything, I feel like I've got a bit too much on the front end now, so maybe haven't quite taken off as much as what I'd hoped. So I could probably go and add like another half a mil to the front or something like that. But let's just stick with it for now. Much better through there that time. Well, yeah. Just hit the curb a bit funny there, just reacted coming off there. So got 3 more laps. So I really need to be doing something. Right now the other one seems to be a bit more consistent. Definitely would favour that more for the race. Too worried about that final chicane. It wasn't bad before. Just this extra height just made it a little bit easier.
You have about 2 laps of fuel left.
Greatest line. Well, we should get a good judge now, looking at the speed. If we're lost a bit, it look like we just lost a hair straight line speed. Not massive. It's a 100th, 200ths that we lost down that straight. Line's all wrong. Need to hit one at least. It's definitely worse through there. Okay, that's enough. That's twice that it went through there. It's just reacting a bit differently now. Definitely feel like the balance had changed. Not quite right, so that's the thing, when we start to manipulate the ride heights a little bit, you never get it quite right. I would say that felt like it was a bit more twitchy, so I would need a little bit more front end on that. But yeah, based on that, right, man. Oh. Have I even got high speed running? No, of course I haven't. Right, what was it? 2710? Yeah, 2710, and then 16.1 or 4? I think it was 1. Right. Yeah, so this is definitely going to be better in a race as well, because it is a bit faster. I was pushing hard on that last one. It just didn't react right. Didn't like the ride height adjustments too much. One area it did, obviously over the chicane, but that curb going in there, it just really threw it out. So it was not great at all. Always worth saving your setups as well. Normally I run iSpeed, so it auto saves everything that I've got. Yeah, so I say my initial thing now would be I would try lower again. I've tried back higher again. It didn't feel great, and I couldn't get quite the right balance. I mean, I would obviously spend a bit more time with that, but you know, one click on the front wing, one on the rear, you know, and then maybe you know, down a mil or two on the rear end gives you another alternative to try, or just up. There we go, just up 1 mil on the front, 2811. Maybe try that. There's not a great deal of difference then that we're doing, so you can see how you can spend quite a bit of time tweaking the aero. But you've got to do these things. These micro differences can make huge amount of difference in like the consistency. We didn't really change too much there, and we gained a chunk of time in the last sector, but we also lost a fair bit in the second sector, and that curve really reacted funny. So, right, okay, guys. Well, I hope that's covered everything. Like I say, anything that's not clear, post in the forum. I'll keep an eye on that. I'll post on the in the chat on YouTube as well, and I'll keep an eye on there. But yep, thanks for tuning in. And you've just been watching that all again, haven't you, on there? But sorry, you know what I was saying. I basically was just explaining the about the wings and stuff like that. But yeah, again, thanks for tuning in, everybody, and I will be back. I think the next one's suspension that we'll be covering. So, you know, really looking at things like well, this car, the suspension's pretty easy because it's just 3 springs. Shouldn't take too long. Well, we've got anti-roll bars as well, haven't we? Better not forget those. So, but only on the back. So, and we'll talk about things like towing with those as well. All right, guys. Right. Thanks very much. Yeah, have a good week's racing at Road Atlanta. Should be a lot of fun. Some exciting races, I think. So, yeah, I'll see you then.